Elon Musk is a traitor? What? I think the very thin-skinned owner of this site must be feeling the heat. Please don't keep posting that hashtag Elon Musk is a traitor because it hurts his fee-fees. I'm a citizen of the United States and have only that passport. No matter what happens, I will fight for and die in America. The United States Congress has not declared war on Russia. If anyone is treasonous, it is those who call me such. Please tell me that very clearly. What the oh, is he gonna get, wait, the CIA thanks you for this message. This is the message they want all of their warmongering adherents to project. If it's done in the name of peace, it must be treason. What happened to people? Do the corporations and the national security state have that many employees? And then someone replied with a bot emoji. It's going to be so fun watching the impeachment hearings showing how Ukraine is blackmailing Biden. I'm very confused. What the fuck is this about? Elizabeth Warren demanding an investigation into SpaceX after Elon Musk said he blocked Ukraine from extending the Starlink network for an attack on Russian warships. That's what it is. He blocked Ukraine from extending the Starlink network for an attack on Russian warships. Interesting. In my opinion, Elon Musk is a stooge for the Russians at worst and an utter bad boy at best. Wow. Every day this piece of shit proves he will do and say anything to advance his own personal agenda. Okay. Basically, okay, so people are fucking criticizing him and he's, they're saying like he owns the site, which, by the way, is just such an obvious thing that anybody could have guessed would have happened when he bought Twitter. Like, anytime there's any kind of problem, you realize now everyone's going to look at you, Mr. Musk. So yeah, a bit of a slight miscalc, I think, on his part there, because in an effort to become the cool kid, you have actually had to become the enforcer, the principal. And the principal cannot be cool, unfortunately, for Mr. Musk. So I do want to understand what his thing is with Ukraine. It's the fact that he's blocking the Ukrainian network because they're using it to attack Russians. Perhaps you can shoot Musk into space. Person got fucking striked for that. The problem here is that this is defensive military action because of the Russian invader. If a person assaults you and you hit them back, that is self-defense. Okay. To clarify on the Starlink issue, the Ukrainians thought coverage was enabled all the way to Crimea, but it was not. They asked Musk to enable it for their drone sub-attack on the Russian fleet. Musk did not enable it because he thought, probably correctly, that would cause a bigger, probably, war. Much appreciated, Walter. The onus is meaningfully different if I refuse to act upon a request from Ukraine versus made a deliberate change to Starlink to thwart Ukraine. At no point did I or anyone at SpaceX promise coverage over Crimea. Moreover, our terms of service clearly prohibit Starlink for offensive military action, as we are a civilian system, so they were again asking for something that was expressly prohibited. SpaceX is building Starshield for the US government, which is similar to but much smaller than Starlink, as it will not have to handle millions of users. That system will be owned and controlled by the US government. This is the funny fucking little tightrope that Mr. Musk has to walk, because he is totally compromised by the US government, but even more by the Chinese government. And maybe, I don't know the extension, I'm not convinced, maybe a little bit the Russian government, okay? You can tell me and inform me if there's any real, solid, hard connections there. I'm sure there are some, okay? He's a very interested party. He's a very interested guy, okay? Different than interesting. It means basically like, this motherfucker, Mr. Elon, he knows that his business interests, Starlink, Tesla, major, those two majorly, but also Boring Company, right? And even Neuralink. That's 4 fucking companies, okay? We're not even including Twitter. Those 4 companies rely heavily, massively, on 2 things: government funding and government approval, okay? And so, in the case of Tesla, it's a massively big deal that Tesla managed to get factories pumping out Teslas in China, right? And Elon has had to do a massive amount of, let's just say, kneeling, or lip service or, just pleasantry. Let's just say pleasantry in order to, convince basically the Chinese Communist Party that he's willing to play ball, right? And he's not going to fuck them effectively. He's going to, toe their line. In the case of the U.S. government, again, massively entrenched this man, okay? And again, it's much more than just the guy, but we're talking about the guy, so I'll frame it around the guy. And he is the biggest, among the biggest owners of all of his fucking companies, right? So it is relevant. But yeah, Tesla, Biden. I mean, Musk has obviously taken a bit more of like a Republican faux stance. He moved his headquarters of Tesla to Austin, Texas, instead of California due to taxes, a number of reasons, whatever. He's supported a number of Republican governors. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, federally, Biden is the fucking fella, as well as Trump. But yes, Biden is the one who has kind of more been advertising this like, oh, green energy, we're going to, install all of these electric vehicle charging stations across the country, right? Heavy subsidies to fucking give directly into Musk's own fucking company, right? This is, keep in mind, this is not the market necessarily making these decisions, right? This is not a function of competition that this is happening. This is a situation where the government is picking the fucking winner. And guess what? When the government picks the winner, that motherfucker has to stay in line. Because the government also picks losers a lot of the times, okay? And again, boring company. There are states, there are legislators, there are plenty of parties, and potentially federal parties as well, that he needs to leverage, soften in order for a boring company to get new contracts, especially now that everyone has pretty much accepted that a lot of the boring companies' bigger ambitions are fucking, they haven't been realized. Let's just put it like that, okay? The Vegas loop, dog shit, fucking fire evacuation, threat, right? It's not a, what would you say? Not very good investment on Las Vegas's part. With Neuralink, again, completely unprofitable. And guess what happens with new technologies that are completely unprofitable to experiment and develop on? They either run out of fucking money, or a lot of the times, the government will subsidize and fund this experimental development of technology, right? And oh my goodness. They will also, a big part of that support is that they will also be able to use that technology for their military development, which is exactly what we just fucking read in this beautiful tweet from Mr. Musk himself. SpaceX. Oh, another company I fucking forgot, bro. Holy shit. So we actually got 5. We got Boring Company, Tesla, Neuralink, SpaceX, and fuck. Maybe I'm cooked. I don't know. I might have forgotten one. But, yeah, no. Anyway, as he was saying, though, you can see SpaceX is building Starshield for the U.S. government. I wonder how that happened. Oh, I don't know. Maybe SpaceX accepts a fucking monumental amount of funding from the U.S. government. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's, a parallel with defense contracting. Oh, but we're also investing in innovation. Makes sense, right? Anyway, this is just kind of further, shows like a lot of the times some of the most innovative technology, it doesn't come from the fucking market incentives. These fucking governments are literally propping up these projects from Mr. Musk, especially, and yes, a lot of his reputation had to do with this for sure, but now that he has this reputation, motherfucker is literally fucking compromised. Completely as compromised as a human could fucking be, because there is literal billions and billions of dollars, actually like hundreds and thousands of people who are kind of locked up in these decisions made by Mr. Musk and how he, coordinates himself and acts. And we've seen in the past, like he's slipped, okay? He's slipped in areas where he is not massively compromised. He has slipped, right? meaning whatever, he supported fucking Dogecoin, he's like battled a couple random people on Twitter, you know what I mean, he's just like been feisty. Obviously with the Twitter situation, it's devolved into a bit of a fucking PR mess, as well as maybe a financial mess, but I'm doubtful that it really matters to him too much. And so he's not infallible, but he knows that there are certain battles he cannot pick, all right? And so yeah, when you see him basically being like, I'm not going to fucking actively make a decision to support Ukraine attacking Russia. I'm not getting involved. I just literally I'm opting out. My companies are not getting involved, making active decisions to potentially fucking contribute to an ongoing war, right? It makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? If he were to act in a way that is not approved by the US government or other governments around the world, right? Maybe even Russia's government. Like I said, I'm not convinced. I don't know the ties he has. I'm sure he has ties to every major country, but I'm not sure how deep those ties go with Russia. Hey, at the end of the day, he is, by extension, very closely associated with the goings-on of the U.S. government. And if he acts on behalf of the U.S. government and potentially, exaggerates the wartime, I guess, panic or potential, fight, then yes, he can absolutely get fucking slapped in the face. He's really just not wrong. Like it just makes sense. Elon Musk is a traitor. That's fucking interesting to me. That's interesting that that's the way they're framing it. Let's see. Holy fuck, this guy's on Twitter quite a bit. I mean, I already knew that kind of, but I don't use Twitter. I try not to use Twitter unless it's literally for what we're doing here. They're desperate for ratings, best to ignore them. Let's see, what's he saying?
In Crimea.
Interesting.
Elon Musk has confirmed a report in Walter Isaacson's new biography of him that last year Musk personally blocked access to his Starlink satellite network in Crimea in order to disrupt a major Ukrainian attack on the Russian Navy.
So this is the claim, I guess, that Musk took an active role and decided to block this. We're not doing this. And that's possible, okay? With me not looking fucking into anything, that is possible that is the case. However, Musk is clearly saying that's not the case. They actually asked us to literally give them preferential treatment, okay? Which is also technically possible, but yeah, keep in mind when you're dealing with a situation like this, it's really not a situation where like Musk personally made the decision to do this. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe he had a say in it. But when it comes to these kind of corporate types, you know what I mean? All this shit where there's so many stakeholders, there's so much that they're literally, balancing. I'm sorry, but he is not going to fucking prioritize the small country of Ukraine over their potential friendship with many, many countries, okay? It is literally a business situation, right? That's just business. That's what it is.
In Crimea. Do you think what Musk did was appropriate? And are you okay with a private citizen having so much power over...
That's funny, a private citizen, yeah. I mean, he is a private citizen. But like I said, does he have that power? If he were to exercise his power incorrectly, again is what I'm saying, he would potentially very easily be stripped of that power, okay? Try it. I dare you. Become a billionaire, become heavily enmeshed with the US government, and then try really, going rogue. I wonder what the US government, I wonder what the reaction would be. See, like, the shit around Musk, it's crazy. This guy really does have such a media flurry around him, and it's self-imposed. He likes it, or he liked it. Maybe not now, I don't know. But this is hilarious. You got, like, fucking CNN reporting against him, and then it's like, new Elon Musk biography reports he asked ex-girlfriend Amber Heard to cosplay as Mercy from Overwatch. And this is what he fucking posts. That's Just wild. He really is the fucking like nerdy tech dude pinnacle. I don't even say that derogatorily, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the way that he wants to frame himself is basically Tony Stark. And honestly, he's probably the closest person to come to, you know, being appreciated as a Tony Stark or whatever. Obviously, there's plenty of differences between them, but in terms of aesthetic or whatever the fuck vibe he's going for, yeah, I mean, you know, he's doing it. Holy shit, we're still not even within 1 day. That's wild. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was scrolling for a while. This guy tweets so much. Someone's making a movie about Musk, probably a hit piece, as that's his style. Yeah, that makes sense. Jesus. I voted for Biden in the last election. I regret it. I was a registered Democrat, but I'm voting Republican for the foreseeable future. The Democratic Party is the party of elites, authoritarianism, intolerance, lawlessness, pseudoscience, and hatred for working class people. That's funny. That's fucking hilarious. The Republicans, yeah, we've already had this whole discussion on stream, but to make a long story short, Musk's reply to that was, I'm hearing this from many people. Musk knows something, okay? Something that not everybody understands. Most people probably don't. He knows that the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, very, very minuscule, okay? To the ordinary person. The differences between them are extremely, extremely fucking small margin, okay? This is basically the margin between the Democrats and the fucking Republicans, all right? But for someone who's a fucking billionaire and owns multiple companies that, again, are heavily enmeshed with the United States government, it's different, okay? Because Musk knows he needs to power lobby, all right? He, depending on who's in charge, can definitely be affected very heavily, right? So, even though really no matter which party wins, he will still be, you know, more than likely a billionaire, very successful, etc. There are definitely times when he can like pick a side and it will be more, you know, advantageous to him. So it seems like, yeah, for Republicans, he's leaning more toward that lately. It really, again, to me, doesn't fucking matter that much. What this guy's saying, where it's like the Republicans are really the working class people's party. It's like, what cope? What cope? That's sincerely cope, because at least if we're talking fucking economically, that's just historically mentally insane and completely fucking incorrect. Yeah. So, you know, obviously Musk is going to lean into that, though. He's obviously extremely fucking anti-worker, which isn't like my opinion. That's the fact of the situation. He's obviously fucking vehemently anti-union, as we've seen with a lot of the Twitter stuff. He's not exactly a guy who fucking even pretends to put a veil of like, you know, caring necessarily strongly about the rights of his employees, right? Again, maybe he'll, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of things you could say to kind of cope and claim that, you know, he cares about his workers, but only the ones who work hard enough. I'm not convinced, okay? Let's just put it like that. I'm not convinced that it's about whether they work hard enough or not. It's more about like them not questioning authority is the vibe that I get. But what the fuck do I know? Nothing. Right? But yeah, for real though. Anyone who thinks there's a massive difference between the fucking Republicans and the Democrats, you're looking, I think, on the wrong dimensions, okay? You're looking like on a fucking 2D plane, okay? On a 2D plane, maybe they look like this, but when you have that POV from a third dimension, it's like, oh, they're this close together. Okay, cool. So yeah, anyone fucking positioning it as if there's a massive difference, it's not even that they're sus. It's just they could be literally just being dishonest, but most cases they just don't really, I guess, know, right? Like their perspective is just limited to the two, right? Because if you literally are defining your political environment by these two polarities or whatever you want to say, then yeah, of course they're going to look far away from each other, right? But someone more from an outside perspective would be able to see that in reality, yeah, very, very similar. Anyway, okay, enough ranting about Mr. Musk. John McAfee did just that. Guess what happened to him? Yeah, that's a good example, actually. I mean, John McAfee was also a literal crackhead in the most beautiful way you could imagine. Man, I'll show you. Fuck it. This is fun. John McAfee.
That was 6 months after I returned from Belize, and all of the newspaper, the headlines were, you know, McAfee was sleeping with teenage girls in Belize. You know, he was manufacturing drugs in the jungle. What idiot, by the way, is going to about it? But the newspapers were full of all of these things, and so I thought, good God, you know, I'm not going to escape that. I might as well dive into it. And so I made a video in which everything that they accused me of, I included in the video and embrace.
You may have to click on remove, uninstall, or a similarly named option.
Bro, he's. Do you see this shit?
Lab Tech Bartholomew, he's going to take you through step by step the process of uninstalling the McAfee antivirus software.
The greatest thing about that was that after that video, the headlines about me were vastly reduced, because once you've accepted the fact, okay, God, he's been living with 7 women. Okay, fine. Let's get 7 women in this video and put them in scantily clad clothes, and I'll be as decadent as possible. Then, what mud can you sling? I mean, I've already slung it at myself now. That was a blast. My wife was in it too. She was the lady that walked on.
That's his wife.
With the gun.
There's like so much lore to this guy, bro. It's crazy.
Let's make fun of me because everybody else is.
Power couple. John McAfee poop hammock. I don't know at this point if we are being trolled. John McAfee apparently died. And apparently he knew who... There's so many people who could have maybe thought he was a threat. But I'm not even convinced it would have been the U.S. government. But maybe it's possible. But here's the thing. He was flexing that he knew Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin. So... that could have also been someone who would have wanted him dead. I don't fucking know. But, yeah, it's possible it's the U.S. guy. I don't fucking know. But, yeah, McAfee famously, like, was a guy who said, I will never kill myself, just for the record. And then he died in custody. So, yeah.
Đây ta đã thấy chuyên môn của